Buddy, Miss Cassandra here. How are you all doing? I hope everyone's fine and well. And I just want to encourage you all that it's all going to be okay. And God knows everything. And He really doesn't blink. He doesn't miss a thing. He knew I'd be sitting right here recording for you, and He knew you guys would kind of have to be home now for a while. So I just want to encourage you to stay filled with hope and know that you're loved by God and that Jesus is our Savior. And we have so much. And just be a blessing to others. So important now as Christians that we go out and, we be the ones out there who are giving people hope, because a lot of people are scared, and maybe you're scared, but don't be scared. Trust in the Lord, okay? Everything's going to be okay. I love you guys. Let's just pray. Heavenly Father, I just thank you so much for my Essentials class and every family and every student, our whole community, God. And I just ask you to be with us as I do this video, that we continue to learn, God, so that, God, we can be able to use words and your word to impact our community, Lord, as you teach us to write and to communicate effectively, Lord. Help us, God, to be used by you. In your holy name I pray. Amen. Okay, so back now to work. This is my first time kind of recording a lesson, so it's going to be a little clunky. I'm going to try my best. I don't know that it'll be, I'm going to try to do 45 minutes per section, but I don't know, because usually our class is interactive and might be a little shorter. I'm always available for emails, calls. If you need help, I'll make up time to you that way. I will come on the phone via Zoom meeting if you're really stuck. I'm willing to do that for you guys. This is going to be pre-recorded, so it'll be up on this YouTube channel. And that's that, okay? So anyhow, we are at week 19. I'm going to do the Essentials lesson first. I have put up on the screen a sheet that I downloaded from the website, which was open to all of you guys, the CC Connected. And it's awesome. I recommend that you guys use these sheets for the last, next 6 weeks or so, and use these to keep yourselves on task. There's a lot of really good stuff on them, and they'll be really good skeletons for the work that the kids do each day at home and keep you kind of going now that we're kind of not having the same kind of structure. Okay, so our focus this week is the complex structure, which is a independent clause and a subordinating clause. We are going to be focusing on the interrogative purpose. Our pattern is SVTDOOCN. We're going to be reviewing verbs. And on our EEL sheets, we should be able to complete tasks 1 through 6. On the charts that you're supposed to be going over this week are chart O, verb anatomy, and review charts D and chart N. So what I did up here on the screen, I wrote up the pattern that we're working with this week, the SVTDOOCN pattern. We started this whole year centered around the idea that language, it's like a puzzle. There's learning language. It's like learning how to put a puzzle together, and we start with kind of the outer edges, the basic framework, which is what we've done the beginning of the year. Now that we're coming towards the end of the year, we're filling in some of those interior pieces. And it is complex, a little bit challenging, maybe a little intimidating, but we're going to get it. It'll come together, especially those of you who have a couple more years to study. You're going to hear this same spiel 2 more years. Those of you who are in your last year, you kind of have heard it twice. Those of you who came in this year, you got a crash course in a year. It's still going to help you so much when you go into challenge next year. But we do have a few more weeks to go. And we're going to just examine the more difficult concepts, okay? So although we've been working a lot with object complement nouns, because that's kind of our special part of speech, our more difficult part of speech right now, I just want to remind you that the job of the complement noun is to complete the grammatical construction of the clause. And I'm going to show you that in this example that I wrote down here on the screen. I wrote a sentence My sister called the skydiver a lunatic, even though he considered himself a normal guy. Sorry, that was my family. They just came in. I'm trying to hush them. Okay, so when we look at the first, which is the independent clause of the sentence, it says, my sister called the skydiver a lunatic. If we had stopped that sentence that in my sister called the skydiver, we're not saying that in the sentence. We're not saying she picked up the phone and called the skydiver. We're completing the idea of what that clause meant. She called actually the skydiver something. She called him a lunatic. So the object complement noun is doing the job of completing the construction of the clause of what we're trying to say. The second part of the sentence, which is even though he considered himself a normal guy, as we can see, he considered himself isn't what we're trying to say exactly. We're not saying that he considered himself, meaning, he was just thinking about himself. We're saying he considered himself a normal guy. So in the second subordinating clause, normal guy, the OCN, object complement noun, is helping us to understand more about what the writer's trying to say. So let's just go through this slowly. My sister called the skydiver a lunatic. That's our independent clause, because if I pull that part of the sentence out, it could stand alone. It's independent. This is complex structure, so we have an independent clause and a dependent clause. The first clause is independent. My sister called the skydiver a lunatic. So as we can see, the subject noun is sister, called is our verb, skydiver is our direct object, making the verb transitive. And a lunatic is OCN, our object complement noun, because it's giving more information pertaining to our object. It's what we called the skydiver, okay? Even though is a subordinating conjunction, even though, together, that is the subordinating conjunction. He considered himself a normal guy. Even though he considered himself a normal guy is not an independent clause. That is a subordinating clause or a dependent clause because it cannot stand alone. So even though he considered himself a normal guy is the dependent clause. And if we take out that subordinating conjunction, we see he considered himself a normal guy. He is our subject pronoun. Considered is our verb. Himself is our direct object, making our verb transitive. That's why I have verb transitive. And a normal guy is the object complement noun. Because after you would say, even though he considered himself a normal guy, himself would be, what did he consider himself? A normal guy. That's just giving us more information about the direct object. Okay? We're also studying the interrogative purpose. So with the interrogative purpose, there are 3 ways to change your sentence into an interrogative sentence. The first way would be just to put a question mark at the end of the sentence and put a lilt in your voice when you say it. My sister called the skydiver a lunatic, even though he considered himself a normal guy. So that's one way to change it to an interrogative purpose. The second way is to exchange the subject for an interrogative pronoun. So we could say, who called the skydiver a lunatic, even though he considered himself a normal guy? Who did it? So we're just taking out my sister and we're using the word who. The third way would be to add a helping verb to the sentence, and that's so simple. And we could say, did my sister call the skydiver a lunatic, even though he considered himself a normal guy? So those are the 3 ways. We've gone over this multiple times. We're just going over it again so that you can know there are 3 ways to change a sentence from a declarative or an imperative purpose to an interrogative purpose, or a declarative and a purpose to interrogative, okay? All right, so I hope that helps you guys as far as just basics about this purpose. So I'm going to put this on pause a second while I go to the next part of our lesson. Hey guys, am I back? I think I am. Okay, hey guys, I'm back. Now we're going to do a quick lesson of verb anatomy. I'm hoping that you can see it on the screen. So Here I found this chart again up on CC Connected, and it had a really nice color-coded chart to help you guys to understand a little bit of verb anatomy. Just like on your regular chart, the best way for you to really get this in your mind is to memorize it. You're just going to have to memorize it until understanding comes. And then when understanding comes, you just know it, okay, already. So if we look at the chart, the first form we'll talk about is the simple form of a verb, which is the infinitive. The infinitive is to, the word to, plus the verb. So some examples of the infinitive is to be or to have. It could be also to play or to work. Anything, the simple form is to plus the verb. So some examples of some sentences that are using the simple form of verbs are I am silly, using to be, or I have ice cream, which uses the simple form of to have. Okay, as you know, be isn't a regular verb. That's why I am silly is a form of to be. Okay, the perfect form is you would use the words to have plus the past participle of the verb. So the past participle of be is been. The past participle of have is had. Giving you some other verbs, the past participle of play is what? What do you think that is? If you said played, you're correct. Or the past participle of run is ran. That's another one that's irregular. It changes. Play is regular. It adds an ed. So past to have plus the past participle. I'm looking at the perfect tense. The first example is I have been or I have had. They actually gave some other examples. I have been silly. I have had ice cream are some examples of sentences. And then we'll move on to the progressive form, which is progressive things are actually happening. They're verbs that are showing that something is actually happening. So the progressive form would be to be plus the present participle of the verb, the ing version of the verb when there's ing at the end of the verb. So I am being and I am having are progressive forms. I am being silly. I am having ice cream are some more examples of sentences. And then the perfect progressive is you're adding to have, you're adding been plus the present participle. So I have been being. I have been having. Other examples, I have been being silly. I have been having ice cream. I suggest that you guys practice with your parents some more examples of taking some verbs and running them through the simple, the perfect, the progressive, and the perfect progressive tenses in sentences. And just practice that, because the more you practiced it, the more you'll understand it, the more you'll be able to really quickly say, oh, that's simple, that's perfect progressive, that's progressive. It'll happen really fast. Okay, but you have to do that work at home. And again, all of these things that I'm showing you, I'm going to be emailing these resources to your parents and to you parents, to you guys, so that you have these great resources available at your fingertips. Okay, or you can go to find your own stuff on CC Connected. But I found these, I like them, I'll send them off to you. Okay, I'm going to go to pause again, and then I'm going to prepare for the last part of Essentials, where we're going to actually model a couple of sentences, one kind of easy, one really advanced, and then, we'll be done with our Essentials portion of the video. Okay? All right, I'll be back. Hi, everyone again. Now we're going to do some review. We're going to model a review sentence. This is just something that we can just practice because it has the indirect object in it, and we haven't dealt with that for a while. Okay. The sentence is, Kim gave her sister the flu. So let's look at this sentence. Go through the question confirmation. So does the sentence make sense? Yes. I actually don't have my sheet in front of me. Let me get that real quick. I think I have one here. Let me see. All right, I've got one. Okay, is there a subject? Yes. Is there a verb? Yes. Does it begin with a capital letter? Yes. Does it have an end mark? Yes. Does it make complete sense? Yes. Other punctuation or capitalization? Well, we capitalized Kim, but that was also the first word of the sentence. Are the words spelled correctly? Yes. Funny that this example is Kim gave her sister the flu, and we're in this pandemic here, but that was just the example in the book. So interesting. Anyway, Kim gave her sister the flu. So who's the subject about? It's about Kim, right? Who gave her sister the flu? Kim. So we're going to label it right up here, subject noun. What is being said about Kim? Kim gave. So gave is our verb. Kim gave what? What did Kim give? Did she give her sister? No. No. Kim gave the flu. That's the thing she gave. So that becomes our direct object. We're going to label our verb a transitive verb. Then we ask the question, because we have more words, to whom did she give the flu? Her sister. So that becomes our indirect object. Now we have a couple more words here that we have to figure out. The first one is which sister? Her sister. So that is a pronoun adjective. It's describing it's whose sister? It's her sister. And which flu? The flu, which is an article adjective. And when we diagram this sentence, as chart A told us which lines we need to use for when we have an indirect object and a direct object, we add two straight lines not going through the long horizontal line, two vertical lines at the end of the sentence. So here we put Kim as our subject, goes here. Our verb goes right after it, our transitive verb. Our direct object goes at the end and our indirect object before that. Because her is modifying sister, it is we draw a slanted line under sister and we put her. And because the is the article adjective modifying flu, we put a slanted line down there and it goes under the flu. Easy example, just reviewing for the indirect object. And I'll be back with our next example. Okay, I'm back, everyone. So now we're going to do an advanced sentence. Don't pay attention to what's up here because I just used the sheet for the sentence that was in our workbook. Was in our book. The sentence that I changed it a little bit, and I made the sentence, who appointed him chef when cooking was forbidden in my kitchen? Thought that was funny. So it's an interrogative sentence. This is, what kind of structure do you think this is? Well, it is a complex structure. There is a subject, there is a verb. It begins with a capital letter. It has an end mark, a question mark, which you see right here. It makes sense to me. And there is no other punctuation or capitalization. We do not need a comma in this sentence. And I do believe the words are all spelled correctly, but if you found a mistake, just send one to me. Just send me the mistake, but I think it's right, okay? So on the question confirmation, we're just gonna go through that together. Okay, so we're gonna first break it out into the two clauses. So we know that we've got I'm gonna try to use my special, I have this really cool tool here. Oops, I just erased something. I didn't wanna do that, but that's okay, we'll fix it later. All right, so we have two clauses here. We have this one here, which is, who appointed him chef? Let me try to make this a little thicker. And then the second clause, and I'll put that in maybe a purple color, or maybe I'll do orange. Okay, no, not that. That's not good either. We'll do blue. Okay, so they're going to say, when cooking was forbidden in my kitchen is the other subordinating clause. Okay? Because if I took out who appointed him chef, that can stand alone. So that's my independent clause. The second part of the sentence, which is when cooking was forbidden in my kitchen, that can't be alone. It doesn't make sense. So that's why that is the subordinating clause or the dependent clause. Two different words for the same thing. So let's kind of just do our question confirmation here. Okay, who appointed him chef? We're going to take the dependent clause first. Who appointed him chef? What is being said about who, which is going to be our subject pronoun. Who appointed him chef? Who? Subject pronoun. What is being said about who? Appointed. So that's going to become our verb. Appointed what? Appointed what? Or whom? Appointed him. So him becomes our direct object. And then you would say appointed, can chef describe or replace him? The answer is yes, it's a noun. It can replace it. So that would become our object, complement noun. Okay, let me just erase that little mess I made over there. Okay, here we go. So erase that and fix my little F with a green pen. It's so cool that I can kind of work this. It's a little sloppy because I'm learning how to work this tablet well. Okay, so let's get back to my eraser because I kind of made a mess over here. This O is a little large, so we'll fix this. Make it a normal sized O. Just having fun. Okay, let's see if I can get a better O. Direct object, object, complement, noun. Okay? When becomes our what? What is when? You should know that from your conjunction chart. When is our conjunction? And the second thing we're going to do here is cooking was forbidden in my kitchen. What was forbidden in my kitchen? Cooking. Ooh, that's weird. Seems like a verb. Actually, is something called a verbal. It's acting like a noun, like a subject in our sentence. But I'm going to write here it's a verbal. And we're going to learn more about that later. But you advanced students know that a verb with an ing at the end can act like a noun. Okay? So cooking, what is being said about cooking? Cooking was, right? Cooking was. So we're going to put a verb here. Cooking was what? Cooking was what? Forbidden. Forbidden. So can forbidden replace or describe cooking? Yes, it can describe cooking. So that becomes a predicate, adjective, and was becomes a linking verb. Okay? In my kitchen. What do we have here? A preposition, right? So this is a preposition. In my kitchen is a prepositional phrase. In my kitchen, object of the preposition is kitchen. That's an OP. Okay? Whose kitchen? My kitchen. So that's kind of acting like a pronoun, but it's an adjective pronoun, right? Or pronoun adjective. PNA, I put APN, but I think PNA is the correct way to do it. And let's see, I think we've got all our words, okay? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and try, and I'm gonna go on my rainbow pen, and we're gonna try and diagram this, which I actually did already. Oh, before we diagram it, we'll go into our structure. Our structure, we know that we've got a complex, right? We have a complex. Let me see if I can move this pen up a little bit. Okay. This is a complex structure. Our pattern, we have two patterns. SVLPA, up here, our dependent clause is SVLPA, and SVTDOOCN is our independent clause. Our purpose is interrogative because it has a question mark, right? So let's do the first sentence. I don't think I messed that up too much. Oh, I did a little bit. So let me just fix that. Who appointed him chef? Let's put chef. All right, here. Oops. Sorry, guys. Chef. All right. So who is our subject? We're going to make our lines, our horizontal line and our vertical line, separating the subject and the verb. So who is our subject? Appointed is our verb. Oops, I forgot to put up here. This is a transitive verb because we had a direct object. I know one of you would have corrected me already in class for that. So who appointed Him is our direct object. We use a slanted line for our object complement noun. And then I'm connecting verb to verb for my conjunction. Okay? Cooking, this is how we diagram cooking. Cooking is a verbal. You diagram a cooking this way. This is the way CC does it in our essentials guide. We make kind of a little step ladder here. Cooking, because we're designating it's a verbal. It's actually a verb with an ing on the end used as a noun. We just talked a little bit about verbs before. So we're using a verb. And then was is our linking verb, right? Forbidden, let's fix this up. It was forbidden is our predicate adjective. Oops, how do you spell forbidden? 2 D's. D-E-N. And I'll extend my line. We've got in as our preposition. The object of our preposition is kitchen. And our pronoun adjective is my, because that's modifying. It's telling us whose kitchen it is. Okay? That makes sense? What I'd like you to do at home for all of the sentences this week is use your quid and quo sheet. I didn't go over that today, but I think for next week's lesson, I'll pull out the quid and quo sheet and we'll actually fill that out in detail for the sentences for next week. I'm kind of running out of time for this week, so I won't be able to do it for this week. Okay? All right, guys, so this is the, oh, and also one last thing. On the back of our sheets, we know that we're going to have to rewrite our sentence purposes, which you should be able to do. You're going to rewrite. You don't have to do both the independent and independent clause. Just rewrite the independent clause. So whatever the sentence is, you're just going to rewrite that independent clause in all the different rewriting by purpose. I'd like you to rewrite by structure, please, also. And then now we're going to do our quid and quo sheet. We're going to add that to our tasks. Okay? So that's it. And I will be doing a separate video for IEW. And for math, I just suggest you guys just do math games at home, play National Number Knockout and stuff like that, and just play the restaurant math game, or just, do math games at home. That's a lot of fun, a lot of stuff online. Maybe I'll send you some links if I come across any this week. Every week I'll try to send you a few extra little things. Okay, so I'm going to sign out for essentials, and then we'll go to IEW in a separate video.